Hi, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Um, just a disclaimer, I'm sure this video will get cut off at the end or or it won't, depends whatever. Um, but anyway, I just figured I'd share some spiritual food that I stumbled upon today that I found to be highly prophetic and very relevant to the times that we're living in this final hour before the Lord comes. Um, I found this stuff in the second book of Enoch, and I titled this video "The Beatitudes of Enoch," and um, there aren't any official Beatitudes of Enoch, but that's just my title. You know, um, I just want to play an excerpt from the second book of Enoch, and they are like the Beatitudes. Before I start, if anybody just wants a little bit of Beatitude history, we all know the standard Beatitudes are blessed is he, blah, blah, blah. Blessed is he, blah, blah, blah. um, there are actually a lot of Beatitudes. There are a Hebrew version of the Beatitudes that were written before Christ. Um, there are actually a Buddhist version of the Beatitudes that are written about 500 AD. And I think the Buddhists start with happy is he instead of blessed is he. What I'm about to share with everybody, um, this particular excerpt is happy is he. Now, to understand, that was just a popular poetic phrase of the time. Kind of like how, like a popular traditional way to open a joke for us would be knock, knock, who's there, right? Well, back in the times of Emmanuel, um, the popular tradition of like a poetic phrase of what you would write would be like blessed is he or happy is he, etc. So that was just the standard of the time. So that's why we see a lot of different versions written in the same format from various cultures. So I just stumbled upon this, and here's another example written in the second book of Enoch. This English version has happy is he. But this stuff is really about the judgment and what we should be preparing for and how to conduct ourselves and all this kind of good stuff. Um, I just found it to be good spiritual food overall. Um, I'll leave the link in the description box below when I'm done, when the video is done, and you guys can check out, just check out this book. I highly suggest spending the hour and a half reading this. Hi, Christine. So yeah, check this out, guys. I hope you enjoy this. Figured a good thing to fall asleep to, or just to have before you get turned in for the night. All right, let me crank this up. Make sure it's loud enough. All right, guys, enjoy. This is read by Apocryphile 1970. I'm sure everybody's familiar with his channel. Okay.
I say to you, my children, happy is the person who reverences the name of the Lord, who serves him in front of his face always, who organizes the gifts with fear, offerings of life, and who in this life lives and dies correctly. Happy is he who carries out righteous judgment, not for the sake of payment, but for justice, not expecting anything whatever as a result. The result will be that judgment without favoritism will follow for him. Happy is he who clothes the naked with his garment, and to the hungry he gives his bread. Happy is he who judges righteous judgment for orphan and widow, and who helps anyone who has been treated unjustly. Happy is he who turns aside from the short-lived path of this vain world and walks in the right paths, and who lives that life which is without end. Happy is he who sows right seed, for he shall harvest sevenfold. Happy is he in whom is the truth, so that he may speak the truth to his neighbor. Happy is he who has compassion on his lips and gentleness in his heart. Happy is he who understands all the works of the Lord, performed by the Lord, and glorifies him. For the works of the Lord are right, but the works of mankind, some are good, but others are evil. By their works, those who speak lying blasphemies are recognized. My children, every just deed, every just decree, every just decision, I have checked out and written down, just as the Lord commanded me. In all these things I have discovered differences. For just as 1 year is more honorable than another year, so one person is more honorable than another person. Some because of much property, some again because of wisdom of the heart, some again because of singular intelligence, some again because of craftiness, some again because of silence of the lips, some again because of purity, some again because of strength, some again because of handsome appearance, some again because of youth, some again because of a penetrating mind, some again because of bodily appearance, some again because of abundant feelings. Even though these things are heard on every side, nevertheless there is no one better than he who fears God. He will be the most glorious of that age. The Lord with his own 2 hands created mankind. In a facsimile of his own face, both small and great, the Lord created them. Whoever insults a person's face insults the face of a king, and treats the face of the Lord with repugnance. He who treats with contempt the face of any person treats the face of the Lord with contempt. He who expresses anger to any person without provocation will reap anger in the great judgment. He who spits on any person's face insultingly will reap the same at the day of the Lord's great judgment. Happy is the person who does not direct his heart with malice toward any person, but who helps the offended and the condemned, and lifts up those who have been crushed, and shows compassion on the needy, because on the day of the great judgment, every weight and every measure and every set of scales will be just as they are in the market. That is to say, each will be weighed in the balance, and each will stand in the market, and each will find out his own measure, and in accordance with that measurement each shall receive his own reward. If anyone is prompt in performing a good offering in front of the face of the Lord, then the Lord will also be prompt to accept it on his account, and he will be prompt in his compensations. If anyone makes lamps numerous in front of the face of the Lord, then the Lord will make his treasure's storehouse numerous in the highest kingdom. Does the Lord demand bread or lamps or sheep or oxen or any kind of sacrifices at all? That is nothing. But God demands pure hearts. By means of all those things, he tests people's hearts. Listen, my people, and give heed to the utterance of my lips. If to an earthly king someone should bring some kind of gifts, if he is thinking treachery in his heart, and the king perceives it, will not the king be angry with him? And will not he spurn his gifts? Will the king not hand him over for judgment? If any person seduces another person into untruth by fair speech, but his heart is evil, will he not be conscious of the treachery of his heart? And will he not judge himself in himself, whether or not his judgment be true? How his untruthfulness is obvious to everyone. When the Lord sends out the great light, in that light there will be true judgment, without favoritism, for true and untrue alike, and no one will be able to hide himself then. And now, my children, place the thoughts in your hearts, and give heed to the sayings of your father, which I am making known to you from the lips of the Lord. Receive these books in your father's handwriting, and read them.
Okay, guys, that's all I really wanted to share, I guess. Yeah, this is the second book of Enoch. It's really good stuff about how Enoch went up to heaven and became Metatron. And I know this story helped me in my walk years ago. And knowing this story kind of helped me understand the purpose of life is like, no, we're just supposed to keep growing and get closer and closer to God and higher in spiritual consciousness. That's why they call the Lord the Most High, because He is the highest. And now in my studies now, I just find that to be nothing but true, like absolutely true. Is there are beings that have evolved out of this physical plane. They don't need the physical plane anymore, stuff like that. And yeah, there are angels and extraterrestrials. Maybe they're the same and blah blah blah. But anyway, I just wanted to give some people some spiritual food and such. And okay, love you guys.